Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coding Journal by the Academy. In this tutorial, you'll learn the basics of CSS. CSS basically stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's a language used for styling a website. CSS changes the content of HTML and makes them look organized and beautiful. So we shall place CSS in the head section of HTML and we start styling. So where are we going to start? We're going to start with the CSS selectors. CSS selectors are basically used for selecting HTML elements for styling. We always start by selecting with the tag name, selecting with the ID, selecting with the class. So for this case, let's create our first project. We shall call this one. We have, for you to give a class for certain content, you write the content name, like we said div. Once select an element by class, you say dot class. Press enter. Now that's the first div we have given its class, dot class, and then we want to select another element, also with the different class. Then we shall say div dot main. Press enter. There we have selected a div with the class called the main, and then another one, say div dot mini. Press enter. So you find these two divs already been selected. Inside them there is no content. If we try to add the content here, in each of these div, we want to add h1, where we say hello world, and then we give them paragraph, and then say lorem ipsum, like this. That is div 1. And then we come to div 2, and we give it h2. We say learn HTML lectures. Yes. And then here we give it a paragraph p, and we share lorem ipsum. Press enter. And then lastly we have div 3. We want to give h3. We say join our class of HTML tutorial, and then below here I want to say paragraph. We say lorem, and then press enter. So here when you look at these divs, all these divs are already having content inside them. We can preview this in our browser by just right clicking. You right click on your HTML element, and then when you right click, you open it with the live server on your Visual Studio Code. Right click and open with the live server, and this one basically will be loading and it will open itself. Or you can also click here and say open with your preview. If your preview is enabled, you can always do that. If it is not enabled, you can use your Chrome to see the whole stuff. So when you open on the internet, this is how our project looks on the internet. So we shall make it be sideways next to our text editor, so that whatever change we do will just reflect immediately here. So here we can now start styling. Where do we style? We always start styling in the head, where we say style. That is the external styling of HTML. Once start styling with the class, we say dot class. That's the name of that element we want to style. One say width. One say the width is equal to, the width is auto, because we want the browser to cover the whole element. And then one say the height, we give it a height of around 200 pixels, and then we give it a background. A background that we're going to give will be orange. So here, and then we also need to style each of these elements with the different classes. Another one is called main. We'll say dot main. So we share width is auto, and then we want to give it a height. We want this one to have height of 300 pixels. Then we want to give it a background color. A background color to be green. Yes, something like that. And lastly, we have for the min dot min. When we style this, we give it a width to be auto. Then we give it a height. Want the height to be around 400 pixels. And then we give the background color to be yellow. So when you right click on your editor and then refresh the page, you find each of these elements has got a selection. They are selected and being given properties like the width property, the height property, and the background property. Why do we put the width to be auto? Simply because the browser can give it that size depending on the level of the contents inside each. And then we give it a background color. Background color is basically one of the CSS property for changing color of certain background of an element. So when you look at this, you'll find that these elements already been put inside what? Inside their properties. The first element wasn't being styled with because we didn't put the class when. There is the dot class is equal to class. Let us change this class to be dot class is equal to legend, and then when we come here, we call this to be dot legend, something like that. When we refresh the page here, legend. Why that one we didn't give it a color? We said the color should be orange, something like that. So when you refresh your page, you control S, you find the whole stuff just changed. So these elements we can keep changing the content inside them. I want to say that div 1, I want to change the text. I will say text align. I want the text to also be in the center. I will say text align center. The whole elements already in the center. And I will say I want to give color for H1 and the paragraph. I want the color to be white. I'll say white. You find when I save, the whole thing changed to white. What about I want to change only the paragraph alone? I'll say dot legend, then P. That stands for go to an element which has a class called the legend, and then select its paragraph and change the color to be something like change the color to be light blue. So I will change the color to be light blue. So when you save, you'll find that the paragraph will change there automatic. And then when you come to this other one, I want to give this one to have a font size. That's another property, and this property increases the size of a text. So say font size to be around 19 pixels, and then when we save, you find it changes 19 pixels. And then for the green, we want to change the color of the text. We want the color of text to be orange. You press enter, and then when you save, you find it changes automatic. And then we want to give it we font size. Want font size to be around 20 pixels. Let us see. Yes. So when we save, you find the font size changes automatic. Want to align the text in the center. Text align items. Text align center. I say text align center. You find all the items are aligned in the center. So we can also go down and keep changing for the rest. For instance, one change for the yellow one down here. We say want align text to be in the center. Meaning I'll say text align, click on it, and then say center. It just comes, press enter. So when you save everything, you find the text align in center, and then we give it a color of red. Say color red, and then when you save, you find it has all the colors red. What if you want to change the paragraph of this alone? We just copy the class, and then we add the paragraph next to the class, and then we style it. So we can come here and paste it below. Then we'll say P. This one will specifically style the paragraph depending on certain class. It doesn't style every paragraph in the div. So we shall say we want the color of this paragraph to be blue. Press enter. And then we want the font size to be around 20 pixels. And then when we save the whole thing, you find it changes automatic. So this is how you can use CSS selectors to select an element and style that element. What about when you want to now add the CSS, when you want to add CSS borders? We can add the border by using a property, border property. Let us create some elements down here, and we want to create a div with a class. So div dot, this stands for a class. We say div. Press enter. I want to style this div and give it a border. So from up there, we know already the class. We shall style this element. We say dot div, and then we want to style it. And we say width. Width can be auto, and then we say height. We want to give the height of 500 pixels. And then we want to say background color. We want the background color to be blue. So when you save and scroll down and you find this element has already a background which is blue. What if in this element we want to include a button and we also style that button? So inside here, let us have a button. And then this button, we're going to style it by giving it an ID. The ID will be called a BTN. So inside this button, once say click here. So already having a button inside this element, but we want to first style this button, whereby we now say we press shift hash. That stands for the identity of an ID. So we shall say BTN, and then we want to give a width. We want to give a width of 200 pixels. We want to give a height, the height of 100 pixels, and then we want to give a background color of white. And then we want to give it a box shadow. That's another property, box shadow. pixels, and then we have 4 pixels, and then we say RGB where we have the first one to be 0, green is 0. We have also wanting blue to be 0, red is 0. And then the alpha, this is the opacity, how we can get opacity of an element is 0.3. So that is it. And then when we save the whole thing, yes, so you have a button which has a shadow. But for this case, when we come to this div, we want to say that align items center. We want to align items to all be in center for this element. So as I say, align items in the center. When you save, the items will all be in center. What about we want to make this button to be in center? We shall say margin left. We want margin left to be around 300 pixels, and then we want padding top to be around 10 pixels, and then we want margin top to be around 300 pixels. Margin top also 300 pixels. So when you save the whole thing, you find you already have a button which has come to the center. So this is how you can we can also change the text inside this button by basically saying color. This one is going to change the color of the button. We say is equal to blue. Yes. When you save, you find the color changes automatic. Say font size. We make the font size to be around 20 pixels, and then when you save, it changes automatic. So we want to make sure that when this button is cursor is placed on it and its color change a little bit. So we shall copy, we shall say this class, we copy this class, and then inside here we want to give this button a transition. We call this transition, and this transition will be all, and it will be for 1 second. What is a transition? She says transition is basically about a change that happens on an element when a cursor is placed on it. So therefore, when we come down here, we shall paste our content here, and then we give it what is called hover. What hover an element? Hovering means when you bring an cursor to that element, when a user clicks on that element, certain things happens. A color changes, text sizes increases, and so on. So when you hover on an element just like this, I want to make sure the button changes to brown. So I'll say background. When an element is hovered, I want the background to change to brown. Yes, so when you save this, and then when you take a cursor here, save it. When you take a cursor here, nothing changes. btn.hover. We have transition on 1 second. Hover an element. Save it. So here, this controllers. I'll refresh the page. So that's basically how, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically how you can select elements by using class, by using ID. What about selecting an element by using tag name? So for instance, when you have an element here, inside the same div, we have h4, and this h4 has said hello world, hello world. when you save it, Control S, there is a hello world already here. When you want to style this element by using its tag, the tag is basically the opening tag and the closing tag. So when you come up there on the style attribute, we want to style this element, we say H4, we want to give it a color, we want the color to be white, when you save, the color changes to white. We want to align the text into center, so text align center, and then we want to make sure the font size increases. Font size is equal to 20 pixels, and then save it. So you find by using the element tag, you'll be able to style the element. So here, this was all about CSS selectors, selecting an element by ID, select an element by class, and select an element by its tag. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. Whoever is learning CSS, please subscribe to this channel and start following the lectures. See you in the next lecture.